Spoiler warning ahead. You're listening to the Geek Speak Radio Show on TalkZone.com.
And we're back on the Geek Speak Radio Show. Paul designs them. This is located in Oklahoma. So if you want to go there, you got to take a trip. Field trip time. So on the phone is Kevin Stark. Hey, Kevin, how's it going? Thanks for coming on the show, first of all.
Well, it's going great. Glad to be here.
So Kevin is the curator of the Toy and Action Figure Museum located in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. Before we get into the museum itself, tell me a little bit about Kevin. What were you doing before becoming a curator?
Well, actually, I'm an action figure designer also. So I don't sculpt anything, but I am a designer, and been doing that for 20 years. Freelance, and do a lot of other artwork, illustrate books, do comics, all kinds of stuff, and still do all that and curate the museum.
What figures did you work on, or just sculpt?
Well, some of the lines I worked on, I started out on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in 1990, and went on to Toxic Crusaders and Stretch Armstrong. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, Romo does, actually.
Yeah, I do. I actually had one. It's kind of interesting. If you ever put it in front of the sun for a lot, let's say like 2 weeks, actually when you pull it apart, all this ooze stuff just comes out. I just know from experience because that's what happened to mine.
Yeah, well, you know what that ooze stuff is.
What is it?
It's corn syrup. In case, cool. Those little kids bite into it, it won't kill them. So.
Man, now I know if I had taken care of it and kept it it would have been worth something. It would have been in your museum.
That's right. It is in my museum.
If you were hungry.
Which is cool. It's in your museum as well?
Oh, yeah. And then also worked on Toonsylvania, which was a Spielberg property for Fox Kids. The Mummy that had Brendan Fraser in it, that Universal movie. Yeah. Did all the toys for that and lots of other stuff.
Kevin, did you like that Mummy movie? The Brendan Fraser
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Not too many people liked it. I'm one of the few who actually thought it was a really fun movie, actually.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was fun. It was kind of Indiana Jones light,
Yeah. They also had the misfortune of coming out literally weeks before Star Wars Episode 1, so that kind of faded away after that came out. Yeah, but I thought it was a fun movie. Yeah. So after all that, and you finally became, well, first of all, some of the history of the museum. How did the idea come up for that?
Well, actually, I'd been a collector for years, and we're a small town of about 6,500 people, and we did a visioning process in the year 2000. We wanted to plan our growth, where we wanted to be in 10 years. So we identified several different things that we wanted. We wanted an active arts council. We wanted an arts and cultural center. We wanted creative and unique tourist attractions in the downtown area. And I joked with the committee that my studio, where I worked, and I had thousands of toys, I joked that I was the unofficial tourist attraction. And I said, we ought to just open a real museum and make it official. And they took me serious. So we got our 501c3 status and put together a board of directors and became an accredited museum and built a space in a 6,000 square foot building and right in the heart of downtown, and opened up the museum 5 years ago this October.
Yeah, October 15th, I believe, is going to be the anniversary, right?
Well, actually, that was when we opened 5 years ago, but October 23rd is the anniversary party. So
I was thinking, actually, you're kind of like the Steve Sansweet of Pauls Valley, right? Steve Sansweet, who has the Rancho Obi-Wan over here in Northern California, for Star Wars stuff.
Well, that's not what they call me around here. They call me the Willy Wonka of toys.
And Kevin, when you were younger, what toys did you play with?
Well, I was big into the G.I. Joes, the tall, the 12-inch G.I. Joes. Mm-hmm. And I had Big Jim and Evel Knievel and, all that. But I had all the G.I. Joe Adventure Team stuff. So my older brother had the military stuff, which he passed down to me. And I got a job when I was 10 years old delivering papers just so I could buy my own toys. So I didn't have to wait for Christmas or birthday to go pick up toys. So even as a kid, I was buying lots of toys.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, but you kind of answered that. And how receptive was the city committee when you told them, hey, let's put an action figure museum together?
Well, I would have to say they were somewhat skeptical at first. But the people who were planning it, I mean, these were bankers and lawyers and, insurance salesmen and all that. It wasn't just a bunch of fanatical fans of action figures. These were people that were interested in bringing something to Pauls Valley that was different and unique. So they didn't have too much problem with it. And they're very supportive of it now.
Yeah, and it took you, how long did it take you to actually open it?
Well, actually, it took us about 5 years to get open. We needed a building to come open initially, and then all of the remodeling was done with volunteer help. So that took a little while. And raising money and stuff to get open, took quite a bit. So it took us about 5 years, but we really did it on a shoestring budget. I think we did the whole project for like $70,000.
And is a lot of the exhibits, are they from your personal collection, or where do you get the exhibits?
Yeah, I'd say about 85 to 90% of what's in there is from my private collection. And we've got over 12,000 figures. But I've got tons in storage and things like that. We change stuff out periodically. In fact, quite often we change things out and put new displays in. So. And
if you guys want to check it out, it's actionfiguresmuseum.com. It's also linked up on geekspeakradioshow.com. You can go in there and take a look at the museum and all the exhibits that are in there. We're talking to Kevin Stark. He's the curator of the Toy and Action Figure Museum in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. Now, Kevin, you mentioned that most of the exhibits here are part of your collection, but the ones that aren't, to quote a great actor, where did you get those wonderful toys?
Well, we get them from a lot of different sources. We get some from toy companies, actually. NECA has been real good to us, where we've gotten prototypes and things like that. Mattel has been good to us. Marvel actually has been good to us. We get it from lots of different sources.
Do you have comics in there also, or is it just strictly toys?
Yeah, we've got comics for sale, things like that. Yeah, we actually have an extensive comic book collection that was donated to us, so we have a lot.
Yeah, and, tell me also about the Oklahoma Cartoonist collection that you have in the museum.
Well, the Oklahoma Cartoonist collection is made up of people who have worked professionally in the field of comics, whether that be political comics or comic books, comic strips. Chester Gould, of course, who did Dick Tracy, is from Pawnee, Oklahoma. And Archie Goodwin, who, went on to be an editor for both Marvel and DC. He's from Oklahoma. Russ Myers, who does Broomhilda, is from Oklahoma. And Dan Peraro, one of my favorites, who does Bizarro, is from Oklahoma. And the guys, Jack and Carol Bender, who do Alley Oop, the daily strip for the Alley Oop, live in Tulsa. So, and there's just all kinds of folks that are from Oklahoma that have been in the comics field.
And that's a wing of the museum, or is it a separate building?
It's a section. It's a display area, so a rather large display area. And we have examples of their artwork, original pieces of art, and then their bios and things like that. And then every year, a few of them get inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Oklahoma Cartoonist Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And currently, the Oklahoma History Center in Oklahoma City has a large display on the Oklahoma Cartoonists. And so all those guys and more are there. And that's a very big display, very nice display.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, you also have the Action Figure Hall of Fame on the website that I was looking at, and you've got some of the toys that actually I used to play with, like G.I. Joe, not the one you play with, the later one, He-Man I used to play with. Do you know who's going to be in the inductee for this year? Yep.
Well, yes, we do have an idea, but we try not to announce that until our anniversary party. So. Yeah,
I was going to say, because you do announce it on the anniversary of... it's at the museum, right?
Yes, that's at the museum, yeah. We call it actually a birthday party because, we're dealing with toys and anniversary is too stuffy.
Yeah. Do you have any special events there at the museum?
Yeah, we do a lot of special events. We work closely with a lot of the movie studios, and we'll have event days or weekends when some of the big blockbusters are coming out, especially if they have a toy line, like Iron Man or, the Batman films, things like that, even the Predator film. We'll do things in conjunction with the studios, and they'll send us movie posters, sometimes action figures, T-shirts, different things that we can give away, and things like that. And then we will build a whole display devoted to that character or whatever, and have that run for, a month or so. So, yeah, we do a lot of special events like that. And we also do a Hot Wheels Derby every year, the Double Dog Dare Derby, and where kids and adults race against each other on a 50-foot Hot Wheels track that's set up in the middle of the street and all. So, and we give away a lot of Hot Wheels stuff for that. So we get a lot of collectors that come in and things because we get some rare stuff from Hot Wheels for that. A
lot of the toys that you have in the exhibits, there are a lot of what we consider classic toys. How do you determine when a toy line is considered a classic?
Well, when we put them in the Hall of Fame, we look at their standing in the action figure world. For instance, you couldn't be an action figure museum and not have Star Wars. I mean, that's just a classic line that has, stood the test of time. Some lines are in there because of what they did for the industry at the time. The first Spawn line, for instance, when it came out, was very innovative in its sculpting detail and paints and things like that. So it really was the one line that forced all the other companies to rethink how they were working. Todd McFarlane came out and said, look, I know what this cost me and I'm making money, so that little, $5 figure, $6 figure that has 4 or 5 points of articulation, he says, I know you're getting ripped off. So, that was an important line when it came out. And, but when we determine the Action Figure Hall of Fame inductees, we talk to professionals, we talk to people that visit the museum, fans, people email our site for suggestions and things like that. So we take into consideration a lot of different things.
Okay, now, I know there's a lot of Star Wars fans listening right now that want me to ask you, so I'll ask you, do you have in the Star Wars collection a Boba Fett figure that actually fires the cannon?
No, we do not have one of those because, everyone's still debating as to whether that's real or not. But I think there actually was one, but,
Yeah, I think there was only one also. I don't think there were many produced. I think it was only one, and whoever has that one, they're not talking.
Right. Well, working in the industry, I know that toys, sometimes get made and all that, and then later they, rethink the idea and, pull back from it and that kind of stuff. So, that can happen, but, I think that's what the holy grail there for, a lot of Star Wars collectors.
Yeah. And before I let you go, what are the operating hours for the museum?
Our summer hours are from Memorial Day to Labor Day. We're open late on Friday and Saturday nights till 7. And we're open every day, including Sundays. And we're open on Sundays from 1 to 5. Now, during the winter time, our hours scale back a bit. We're closed on Mondays, and we're just open till 5 on Friday and Saturday nights. But we're open about any time. And, if you're coming through town and you can't make it while we're open, a lot of times email the site or whatever, and heck, we'll open for you even at night.
There you go.
We know how collectors are.
Yeah. So again, Kevin Stark, he's a curator of the Toy and Action Figure Museum in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. The website is actionfiguremuseum.com, linked up on geekspeakradioshow.com. It's all there. You can take a look at the museum, email them in case you're going to be over there in Oklahoma. Like Kevin just said, they'll open up for you. Yeah, so Kevin, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Sure.
Yeah, and you're welcome back anytime you want to come back.
All right. Well, I love you guys' show, so appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Kevin.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.
Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.